Next, I want to talk to you about how to set these boundaries at work. When I was getting my PhD, there was a time when I was working a very demanding externship while also balancing my coursework and working part-time. So very early on in that experience, I had to learn ways to set boundaries with this job so that it was clear that I wasn't available 24/7, okay? Here are some of the ways that I've been able to set boundaries with high demand jobs in the past, and you can also use these if you own your own business and you have employees that you also want to set boundaries with, or a team that you want to set boundaries with. So the first thing you're going to do is use assertive communication. So this is the type of communication that's right in between passive aggressiveness and aggressiveness. So you don't want to be passive aggressive and maybe not respond to an email because you're just sick of people asking you for everything. And you don't want to be super aggressive on the end of the other side of that, where you explode when somebody asks you one more thing just because you're so overwhelmed. Assertive communication is that middle ground. So you want to find a way to validate your needs, make the other person in the communication feel heard, while also asserting your own needs in that communication. So it can look like something like, if let's say your boss asks you to do one more thing, you could say, I understand you really need this to be done, but at the same time, I'm also pretty overwhelmed with my current workload. Can we try to figure out a way to get this done with someone else? Or, you can think of ways to delegate. But the essential thing is that you're communicating your needs. The next thing you're going to want to do when it comes to creating these boundaries is know your rights and know your job description. So if you're the boss, you're going to know what you handle and you're going to know what other people handle. So you're not going to be afraid to delegate tasks if it's not something within your realm. If you're working in a corporate situation, you're going to know, hey, I don't have to work 24/7. That's actually illegal. Knowing your rights on what is fair and what is not fair in your own work setting is going to be helpful when you are ready to assert yourself and assert those boundaries, right? Another thing you could do is a yes, no. So when someone asks you to do something and you're already feeling overwhelmed, you can assert a boundary by saying, I would love to do that for you right now. Given my heavy plate, what would you like me to take off my plate so I can prioritize this one thing? So essentially you're saying yes to the new thing, but you're saying no to being overwhelmed. Or it could be like, you're saying yes, but maybe not this week or maybe not today. So you're finding a way to get both parties' met need while still asserting your boundaries. Another thing that's going to be helpful for you as a boss or even in the corporate world is to pause before you say yes. So especially if you are a people pleaser or an overachiever, you might find yourself saying yes to ask from colleagues or employers, and they're asking you to do something, and because you want to impress or because you're just that go-getter, you just say yes and add it to your plate. And when you get in the habit of pausing before you say yes, and that can look like by saying, let me look at when I may be able to get that done, or let me think about it and I'll send you an email, or let me take a look at my calendar and get back to you. Always pause before you say yes. Give yourself some space to really think about, is this something that is going to push you over the top and make you feel overwhelmed before saying yes to a new task. And the fifth thing is to stick to your boundaries. So once you've decided, hey, I don't work on the weekends, do not answer emails on the weekends. Do not say, oh, I'm off, but let me just send this one little attachment. Do not answer calls at, let's say you're done at 6 p.m. and someone calls you, either a teammate or your boss, and you know that you've set the expectation that you're not available that time, that that's family time. Don't bend your own rules, because then you're setting expectations for people that you're always going to be available at those times. So really stick to these boundaries that you set and be consistent. But you're giving me